This is the second part of this presentation for the material and process codes. So the process codes I've explained just before. Also on this second spreadsheet, there's a process codes tab that basically we've listed all the combinations in here for you. You know, you can ignore this column B. You can delete that even. This is just more sort of for us. You know, the categories, I'll explain all these anyway. So P just stands for processing, versus M for material, supplier code, color edging. You know, this is the process code. So say if you want to filter, you know, foiling or whatever, you can just bring up the foil issues here, the foil processes, options, one side, two sides, and then codes. Yeah, so this is basically just a summary of my previous Excel that I sent you. So obviously the previous Excel is just to explain to you the front end, how these front end selections need to change and which ones we need to add, and how to produce these codes. But this process codes in this spreadsheet is the list of finals, assuming that, as I explained, when you are going with a foil stamping option that has two sides and two colors, you guys are happy to do two separate codes in the back end. Or, like I said, we're more than happy to add extra 3 digits in here. When you go two sides, you know, you can add another 4 characters, you know, for the second color. So this two sides, WSI, can be color 1. Silver, and then this black can be another color, another code. They're in the same one. Yeah, so if you want it, if you guys tell me you prefer it the other way, then we can put together 1400 combinations or so for every single combination with extra characters in here. Alright, so just recapping process codes, you already should understand by this stage. And this material codes is your paper, and this is basically uploading. This is what you've uploaded before, Alvin. So this is just a bit more in-depth, a bit more additional data in here, and in a slightly different structure in by way, which we are using material codes here. Yeah. So material codes, again, just to recap, is your paper stock, and color of the paper if the color is available. Yeah. So let me just go, if I select one paper with a color, whatever, cotton lux, and then max white. Yeah, so paper stock and paper color, that's the material code. I think you guys understand that from my previous presentations. Yeah. So I'm going to go through this spreadsheet now, but just before I start, let's just explain what the color means. Material code is yellow, so that's the actual material code. So every single paper and its options are all listed here. These dark orange colors, they are the part of the material code structure. So this is the makeup of this material code. So I'm using these characters here to make up this code. Yes, so M, material, supplier code, AL, you know, EO1, this part here. So that's basically your makeup structure. These light orange fields are internal things that we need to store. You know, this is the stuff that we're going to upload into database, and we're going to retrieve this in the CMS to help our staff, you know, manage quotes and find out, you know, shortcuts and stuff. Yeah. Now the green stuff is what you're going to upload to the front end. So whatever is green is going to show up on the front end of the website. Yeah. Now I'll go back and I'll do each one of these together. So category M, as opposed to P for process, is just a code for material, yeah, which is the M underscore. So all these material codes start with M underscore. Supplier, these are supplier names. And supplier codes. Yeah, so this is supplier code, but we need to know the English name of the supplier and I guess a Korean name of the supplier for our Korean speaking staff. So you'll see there's a few Korean characters in here because most of our suppliers are in Korea. So you're going to have to look into foreign characters if that's not automatically available in the HCRM Okay, if there's a problem with this, let me know. Yeah, but again, these light orange ones are just storing data, additional data in there. Yeah, so supply code is that. And I also have the suppliers here and the names here. Okay, under this tab. So same process like we did last time. So this is just the paper name. This this paper name is not as it shows up on a front end because the ink tank paper name is actually the paper name that we've used in the front end. So this is the true name of the paper as it's known by the supplier. So for example, the supplier knows this paper is antique black, but we called it luxury matte black. It's just a different display name, but this is as I said, the green names are the names they're going to show up here. But for our quoting staff, they don't, they also need to know that paper is from this Doosan supplier, and the supplier paper name, how he knows it is antique black, and this is the Korean for it, and that's the 300 GSM is the thickness for it. Yeah. Now I believe that this number here, this 300 GSM, is the number that you will need to use for the edge foiling. As I've explained in this previous document, you're gonna have to do you're gonna have to work out, this edge foiling here. Yeah, so you need to know if it's say if the paper is 350 or whatever, you need to apply this formula. But the spec or GSM, this is the number. You can pull the numbers from here so that you know that, okay, well, I'm looking at the cushion mat when I'm doing the edge foiling on the cushion mat, paper. The paper weight is 550 GSM. Therefore, you will work out, the price of this one here. I think it'll be code for 600 GSM because 500 to 600, so 550 falls in between 500 and 600. Then you're going to use this one, yeah, so 600 GSM. So you're going to use the E6 code to calculate the process code for that, yeah. So that's the GSM here. Okay, name and spec, again, it's just, I think, all it is just the supplier name and the GSM put together. So again, it's just, we're going to retrieve this data in a CMS when I'll give you additional information for the scope that will help our staff recognize papers and suppliers and thicknesses and stuff, yeah? So the name code is basically the code of the paper, yeah? It's just the code for the paper. So 200 is the GSM, EO1 is just the code for these papers, yeah? So these are all the codes. This is the paper color, so the color of the paper. You've noticed, so this is the Korean name, or this is the sort of supplier's reference of the color of the paper. You notice that obviously we have our own internal name of the paper and our own internal color names here that are going to show up on a website, and we've done this slightly differently as opposed to the previous spreadsheet. Because on the previous spreadsheet we had, I think, color available 1, 0. If the color is 1, then you put in a color name. But basically we needed to change that, because don't forget, this time we've got the material code, and each combination of paper and color of the paper will give us a different material code, and therefore we have to put the reference color names in here. And these are the colors of the paper in here. And if there's no name inserted, you can assume the 0 value, which means that if there's no characters here, then basically, it's just the same as the old formula, which is color of the paper equals 0. So the color is not applicable, and therefore don't show the paper color option on those, yeah? Okay, so let me just go quickly through finishing these up here. So, supply paper color, so it's called, ash, for example, for the supplier, but we call it stone blue. Okay, so that's just the internal name of how the supplier calls the paper. And this is the Korean name for it, yeah? Again, these are all internal names. these are the color codes. So this is the codes for the color. Yes, so if you have a look at here, CSH is the internal makeup code for the for this color, which is essentially Coco Shell as far as supply is concerned. Oh, well, and us as well. Yeah. So then you've got, look, this paper pattern or texture, just store as yes it exists or no it doesn't exist. This will be relevant for later, again in the CMS. So just store this data like you're storing all this other stuff. Yeah. Now the green stuff is the important. The green stuff is what's going to go up on a website. Yeah. So if you look at again these codes here, and the green is what's important. Yes. Yeah. So in like in the same old scope, you've got the color. This is basically the ink tank name. So the paper name. Yeah. So the paper name as it shows up in here. Then you've got the color name. So like I said, if there's nothing in there, then it's 0. If I've got a color in there, then you put the color in there. Yeah. So as you can see, so vintage color collection. I've listed all the colors in here. Yeah, so those haven't really changed. That's same like the old one, but the only difference is that structure is now different because each color and each paper color and each color option will have its own unique material code. Okay. Now from this onwards, pretty much everything is the same as I explained. Yeah. So you got this is the product category. Yeah. So you've got a category spreadsheet, so luxury, textured, ultra thick, colored, etc. So this is all the same as last time. Numbers will show you to which categories to put the certain papers in. Printing options, now again it's the same logic, but we've just added a few more printing options. Yes, we got 49 printing options, and they all come with their own unique codes as well. Yeah. So when I put in the numbers, you're going to have to pull those options from the printing options. Yeah. So so say if you're pulling option 10, that the display name is black ink 2 sides, but in addition to that you will know that the supplier is this HA and this is the code for that. Okay. So because it's important that from the quoting section that I kind of briefly explained to you guys last week, or when is that we're gonna pull in the supplier information. So when this black ink 2 sides from code number 10 is pulled, by this code you will know who the supplier is, and this will have a different price basically. Yeah. Size exactly the same as last time. Quantity is the same as last upload. Now these finishes, like I explained briefly in my last presentation, we have 2 types of laminate. These are the codes. You're pulling those in and all the supply details from there. You also have 2 types of scoring now. You have 2 types of perforation, 2 types of numbering, 2 types of drilling, etc. etc. Yeah, so you'll be pulling those yes and no's from here, but based on the types of those special finishes. Okay. Again, the process codes are all in here as well. So so laser cutting, laser marking, all these pretty much, I think all the finishes are the same. So size, quantity, supplies, just follow this information. I don't think much has changed from here, but basically I think we have a few more supplies, so don't just use the old database. It's probably better if you start clean and just replace the entire table. Now this material cost here is how we're gonna structure the costs, where you can give live quotes on the system. If you remember, so we've got the paper in a paper color, if it's relevant, will give us a material code that will in turn, based on the quantity and size, give us a price. Okay. So here, this material cost section here lists all the material codes in all possible sizes and all possible quantities. Okay, so there's about 2,821 options. So if you have a look at, for example, this one is the first paper, material, supplier, paper, name, colors, and GSM options are all included in here. These are the 3 sizes that this is available in a quantity of 200, and these are the prices. Now we're going to store three prices in a database. One is the Korean won cost. So this is what it costs us to purchase that paper material. That's the same cost translated into an Australian dollar via an automatic formula. And the selling price is what's going to show up on a website. Yeah, so that's something I'm going to have to supply you guys with, and I will do in the next few days. But I just need you to understand why we're doing these material codes now, and how the pricing will correlate with those. Yeah. So these prices are the prices that are going to show when I select this and I select that. It might show a price there. In the same way, the process codes will also have the prices like that. So all the process codes, basically the ones that are here, will have a price given each size. Sorry, not the size, but just the quantity. Yeah. So the system will know foil stamping on one side, front color such and such will give me a price on a quantity of 200, and that's what's going to be added up here. Okay, so that is the purpose of why we revisited this database structure. And basically the next assignment now is, obviously the first one is to upload my previous changes to the finishes. Given there's different types of, not just laminate, but also different types of rounded corners and scoring and perforating, and a few changes that are requested to be made. And then ideally you will just zip all this information, upload it up onto the website, and you'd be able to, as I'm selecting options in here, to generate these codes that then in turn will allow me to get these prices in here. Okay, and obviously when I give you the special finishing prices here as well, and then we'll be able to have a live quoting system happening. So that's the idea behind this. Again, these light orange ones are just for you to store at the moment. The green stuff is for display. The only major difference in this and the last type is that we have a few more printing options and a few more different supplies and stuff. And the color, the paper color, went onto the same spreadsheet as opposed to referencing 1, 7, 10, 11. Because the material code now makes up part of the material code is the actual color of the paper. Okay, so have a good look at this and review this together, and let me know if you guys have any questions.